my name is Liliana, and today I'm going to explain you how I use AI in my daily life. And just thank you for the hearts. So I'm going to present myself a bit. So I'm Liliana. I work with several program languages. I work for several countries already. Currently, I'm working at Coverflex. It's a Portuguese company. And I'm also an ambassador of Geek Girls Portugal and a GDG Lisbon organizer. So I'm going to start. What actually changed? So before, when a requirement or a feature come to me, I always have to go to the code, try to understand if it's feasible, what kind of problems can I encounter. And I have to do this always something most of the times by myself, or I have to start talking with people, but sometimes people are not available. So you know how this works. So now with AI, I feel like I have so much more autonomy because some of the things I can ask AI, if I want to find something or I have a specific question, I can ask. So I think this is one of the biggest change that AI brings. And for me, it's a collaboration, not a replacement. So when a new feature comes to our team, what we do first is we have a meeting with all the teams, engineers and product designers, QA, engineers, front end and back end, product managers. So we all are on this meeting. Usually the product team, they present the feature we need to implement. Usually we use Figma. So the product designer already have a Figma with most of the screens and how the flow should be in a UI interface, obviously. And for us just to understand how is going to be the user experience for the user. Before AI, usually we always start concerning about, oh my God, I'm going to do this on the engineering part, right? But with AI, since some of the parts are easier to do, I can really feel like, oh, okay, how this feature is going to impact the product and the users. What is going to be the value that's going to bring to our company, right? So was one of the biggest change for me. So next, as an engineers, we're going to start thinking how we're going to implement these new features. Sometimes these features that's already touched in some parts of the code. So we need to be very careful because we don't want to put some bugs on the code, right? And have a bad experience for the user. So we all start thinking about this and what kind of parts of the code we need to touch, what kind of integration, start to mount all of this to return to the product and say, okay, we need these weeks or whatever to do this. This is the problems you're going to encounter. So we feel like we need everything we have right now. It's more concrete because we have AI to help us to clarify a few things. And then we use the AI, Claude and Praxis in this case, to help us to implement the feature to the beginning to the end. I'm going to explain in a few minutes. So we use something called Praxis. Praxis is a workflow development, AI assisted, that is based on the pattern compound engineering. Compound engineering, I'm not going to explain it here because I needed more time, but the base key is you can really teach the AI to memorize things that you really need them to learn. For example, good practices you have on your company, some project rules, some code style that you wanted to learn. All of these things you can really teach the machine, and I'm going to explain it how. I'm going to put it here, the link for the praxis that I use and an article about compound engineering if you want to read it later. Okay, here. So basically, brainstorm, plan, implement, review, and retrospective are all skills from Praxis. I separated the pull request because I feel like pull request is a different step here in the middle of this. This pull request is based all human in this case, and the rest are steps from Praxis. Oh, okay. So the brainstorming. Basically, when a feature arrives, like I said, we need to think of a lot of other things. And sometimes I have doubts like, do you already integrate with this system? Yes or no, because our code base is complicated. It has a lot of critical parts and is a big code base. So sometimes I don't know if we already implement with that integration. how is implemented right now. So the brainstorm helped me to clarify some doubts, make me understand if the implementation I'm thinking it's feasible or not. And one of the cool things of brainstorm is going to save a file on your computer and on your repo with the ideas and everything that you talk with AI. So everything that when I have all of these aligned and I have a plan of implementation in my head, I go back to the team. Usually I discuss with the team, and as a team, we decide if it's a good solution or not. After that, and after everyone agrees with the plan we came up with, we plan with AI. So Praxis has a plan too. So basically I said, you know what, take with the brainstorm, I put some context into the AI and said, you know what, create me a plan for this. It's going to create a plan, how is the phases we should do to implement this, what kind of files we need to touch, files we need to create, all of these things. And at the end, this is always a conversation. It's going to ask you questions, and you can always say, you know what, I don't agree with this, please change it. I don't think it should be like this, I think it should be like that. So it's always a conversation with the machine. After all this is aligned, I said, you know what, how many tickets do you think we need to implement this feature? He's going to probably make me some suggestions. He said, okay, I think you need this, this, and this. Sometimes I say, you know what, you can separate this ticket in 3 or 2 because I like to do small pull requests. So I ask him to create the tickets with a Claude skill. These kind of skills you can create it with on Claude, on other AI, doesn't need to be Claude, obviously. And we create a skill that is, when it creates the Jira ticket or the linear ticket, is exactly the way that the company likes, right? Or it's the best way for us, even for the product managers to read or the KI team to read, because we don't want tickets to be too much technical. So we created a skill to create tickets in the way that everyone understands. I execute this skill and it's going to create automatically the tickets on Linear or Jira. After that, I call the implementation, I put the ticket number, and it's going to implement that whole ticket. And because it has all the one of the things, sorry, in the plan is going to create a file too. All of these files is a .md. This is always can be saved on your machine and should be, because if you get sick or for some reason you need to be absent from your work, one of your colleagues can take the work from you because it's in the plan, so you can read the plan, you can execute the plan, and he always going to understand what needs to be done. Like I was saying, I go to the implement and I say to him, okay, say to AI, okay, implement this ticket, is going to generate the code and implement the ticket to the beginning to the end. So review, it also has a review. This review is a skill that Praxis has, and he always going to see all the learnings he's already has from his context and also from our code base. So now that we use Praxis for some time, the review, every time it's even more accurate. Okay, so it's really nice. And so I ask him to do the review. He's going to ask me if I agree with the review or not. And it's not like a big review, is always do some steps and say, oh, okay, so in terms of security, I found this. In terms of code readability, I found this and this. What do you want me to implement? And I can choose what AI wants to should implement or not. So I always have a word to say in all of this process. After this, after it is the review and I accept some of the changes, I go grab some coffee, take away from the computer a bit, and then I come back and I see the code that he generated. So I saw the code and say, okay, I think this can be simplified. I'm doing it myself. I go there and change. And sometimes I even say, you know what, you can do this like this and like this for him, for AI to learn too. So I always have a word to say. I don't push code to the repo without me seeing it first, okay? This is something I want to clarify too. After that, I open a pull request, and I have a skill for that too. With the standards, we are aim on when we create a pull request. And in this case, I open a pull request and I ask to the team, you know what, I have a pull request. When you have time, please check it. And my colleagues go there and check the code. Like a normal pull request we already do in those days. That's why I put the pull request in a separated way, because it is most of the time only humans interacting. After that, we have, for me, the most cool the most amazing step I think Tech Practices has. So after the whole feature is done and the plan, one of the cool things is the plan file has a status saying progress, finished, or closed, something like this. So every time the plan is closed, I can execute the retrospective, and it's going to say, you know what, I learned this and this. What do you want me to save it for next time? And I can choose. Most of the times, some of the times I say, I don't want this or this because it's kind of code styling, my code styling. And this is not helpful for the whole team just because it's a personal preference, right? But most of the times can be something like, for example, some pattern of programming. For example, in these days, we are trying to standardize the way we import and export Excel files, for example. So this is one of the cool things I can say AI for learn, because next time someone wants to do an import or export of Excel files, practices already have this knowledge. So for example, in this case, I could say, you know, save this and this for later. And next time someone wants to do it, it's easier because AI already knows it. So what changed the way we collaborate? Like I said before, when we go to a meeting with product, I have more concrete questions. And it's not something that I don't know yet, or maybe we see it later, because most of the times there are most of the things we already know, or it's easier to understand with AI. For example, if I have to touch in some part of the code, I already have more concrete evidence. This could be a risk because of this or this, and can touch on that part or on that part. So when I go to a product, I don't bother him with empty questions like I used to usually say. I have more concrete questions and risks. Tickets and estimations. I think with AI, it's easier to give estimations at some point, because you know that the execution part is going to be faster. But I feel like here we always have the downside that at the moment everyone says or thinks that because we have AI, everything it's easier to implement and it's going to be super fast. And sometimes it's not like that, because obviously we have integrations, we have a code base to take care of. So I think in terms of tickets and estimation, it's fair, because I think the tickets are well written, everyone's understand it with a lot of, with much more description and well detailed. But can be a downside that some people above engineering or product thinks that everyone is going to be much faster and easier to implement because of AI. The code review, it's better too, because most of the times when I go to the code review, I can focus more on, okay, does what we really want. We are applying this business rule. This is actually, I don't know, making these security checks. I don't have to be always concerned about good practices of the code or small mistakes that everyone does, because AI usually catch these kind of things. And team knowledge. With these kind of files we put on a repo, and also because we have some documentation too, and we can do this documentation with AI help, I think the team knowledge is well more spread. And because we have more time, because we save some time implementing, we have more time to really do some good documentation about the feature, about the engineering part. So this is one of the things I feel like AI bring a lot of value to. So what AI doesn't replace judgment. Like I said, AI do the exhaustive work, but I feel like everything that needs to be, requires context, intuition, or accountability needs to be us to do it. One of the things we have to do too is learn auto prompting, because this is going to be the key part for you to save some time at the same time to save some money on AI, because let's face it, AI it's start being very expensive, and the way you prompt it can save you some time and money. Custom skills are a multiplier for sure. Like I said, creating tickets, open pull requests, I can create skills for that. I don't need to do it myself. So it saves some time, and at the same time can be reusable for everyone. These kind of skills, we have it on our repo. So everyone, even outside of my team, can go there and use it. And retrospective, like I said, I think it's a key part on this whole process, because it really helps you to save the context and really make AI learn what you wanted to learn. But obviously, not everything is perfect, right? AI is not perfect. So don't trust blindly, obviously. So I have here an example from one of my colleagues. And basically, she said to the AI, okay, we have a bug. And she put the bug, the message we are receiving on a UI, everything. It says, please help me find the bug because I don't find it. And AI was like saying, no, but the code is correct, everything is fine. And she said, no, it's not, we have a bug. See, I have this error on the interface. And Wall is saying the same thing. She closed the chat, she started a new chat, everything again. And at the same time, she said, okay, I think the problem is here, maybe on this pull request. And in this commit, and he said, oh, you're right to push back. Let me read the actual current code. And then said, you're right, now I have read the actual code. So sometimes it doesn't read the actual code. Why? I don't know, because sometimes it's lazy too. Second example. So my colleague was trying to investigate something, and he suggested type. And I was like, where did you get this type from? And AI gave a very honest answer, like, I just made up during brainstorm. Sometimes he's made some things, he's assumed things too. So please don't trust them blindly. Just make sure that everything that AI tells you, it's true. You can ask your colleagues, you can search on the internet, but please don't trust blindly. And if you see news in these days, Claude already delete database in production. People are installing virus on their machines by mistake because sometimes they don't know and they trust it. It's normal. I'll probably do the same thing one day. So please be very careful when you execute things from AI. And please do never stop questioning. I'm always saying everything you do, it's a cake, an API, a website, whatever you do, it's for a human to consume. So if you remove yourself from all of this process, everything is not going to be the emotion, the touch, the feelings that the product will make on that person, right? Because everything you do, for example, the product designers and the UI UX, right? Your concern is to give the best experience to the user. So don't lose that, okay? I think our superpower is questioning and critical mind and critical thinking. So please don't lose that, and don't be afraid to put your experience and yourself in any product you do.